There are more podcasts on YouTube than there are stars in the night sky. Everyone has been convinced that they're a unique, special little butterfly and that their insight is invaluable. And now that there's so much easy access to recording equipment, everyone gets this insidious little idea planted deep in their noodle that it's time to start a podcast. And my God, I tell you, it's a plague. It's a disease, a virus that's infecting the mind of the most insecure and insufferable people of all time. For some reason, once that AT 2020 touches their hand, they just scream their insecurity from the mountaintop with authority, proudly. And it blows my mind. But I've never seen insecurity projected quite like what I'm about to show you today. So I am still shocked that he hasn't scrubbed this podcast episode from the entire cyberspace, just wiped it from the internet. Like, if this was a clip of mine, I would have paid every penny I have to my name in order to ensure this never sees the light of day again, that this clip stays buried, like the fucking Millennium Puzzle from Yu-Gi-Oh! It is that embarrassing. Like, you couldn't lock me up in Guantanamo Bay and torture this clip out of me, and yet he still has it on his channel. So the podcast is like a bootleg Fresh and Fit, where they just get a bunch of women together and ask them stupid questions and then rate each other's beauty. And then he gets really offended, like visibly upset, and I really thought he was going to start bawling his eyes out, crying in the fetal position. And I've watched a couple of their episodes now because I was curious if this was like an isolated thing. But no, this is pretty common. This is like a staple in their show from what I can tell, where they just have this section where they ask the women that they bring on to rate their beauty, rate the podcast host's beauty.
Listen, ladies, we're rating just off physical appearance, just off beauty, okay? Same standards. Trust me, we're not going to get hurt, okay?
That's the biggest lie ever told since the time Kellogg's tried to convince the world that sugar doesn't make you fat. So, the segment is Rate Our Appearance, basically, which is some actual middle school, literal baby brain man-child behavior shit. That is insecurity at its finest, to have the women you bring on as guests rate your appearance. That's so stupid. I'm surprised they don't also play Spin the Bottle and Truth or Dare. And maybe they do, I've only watched a couple of their episodes, but he says that they're not going to get offended with the ratings. Well, do I have news for you?
All right, cool.
What the fuck?
All right, so now what I want you to do is, ladies, real quick, don't fucking waste my time. Rate the guys. Do me a favor, Josh. Stand up real quick, man. Everybody look at him once, man. He's not going to stand up again, all right? So I want you to rate me, my co-host, and then our fucking producer. Go, from 1 to 10. Just off beauty. Go.
When he does these sections, it really seems like he's some kind of basketball coach who's really upset at the team. Like, he gets very aggressive with all of it. Like, don't waste my fucking time. Listen, we're going to do the drill right now. We're going to do it right. So stand the fuck up, Josh. Look at him. Now spin around, Josh. Okay, good. Drop your pants, Josh. Good. Now rate everything you just saw. Now, don't waste my time. Like, I don't know why he gets, like, so upset even before they hear ratings. Like, he immediately goes into these sections combative. And I watched the whole episode up until this point. Like, he's pretty blunt and like very much so most of the time. But when it gets to this one in particular, he's like angry. Like, even before anything happens, he's already angry.
Speaking to the fucking mic.
I would rate you.
First, you're rating me, and then him, and then him. Go.
I'll rate you a 7.
All right. What is he?
I'll rate you an 8,
All right.
and I'll rate Josh an 8 also.
Okay. What about you? Go.
I would rate you a 8.
Okay.
9.
Okay. Come on, he just fucking stood up, bro. Like, come on.
I don't even know what he's getting upset with here. She only took like an extra 2 seconds to take another look at the guy. It's like he just lost a gold split in a speed run to this extra 2-second time loss. Like, it's not that big of a deal. I don't know why he's so on edge. It seems like he just really hates the guests that they bring on. Because when he's talking to his boys, he's like much more jovial and joking and smiley. But the second the conversation shifts to the rest of the class here, like the group of women over there, he turns into like a drill sergeant and starts getting extremely serious and loud. So I don't know why they even bring on women to this podcast when they don't even really want them there. And I also don't know why women keep agreeing to go on shows like these, because half the time it's them just like saying, you're not good looking and shit like that. Like, right after this rating section of rating the podcast hosts go through and rate all the women. And they literally give them 2s, 3s, and 4s. And make sure that they know that the hosts don't find them attractive. So I don't really get why women keep signing up for this shit just to get insulted by podcast hosts, and they don't say anything or do anything. Like, the women will insult each other sometimes. Like, they don't ever push back against the hosts at all, so then they just walk away looking silly from all of it. Like, all of it is just a net loss for the women that go on these shows. I don't know why they keep doing it.
I would say 9.
All right. What about you over there? Go.
2.
Okay.
I would give him a 9.
Okay. What is she over there?
I would give him a 10 because he
Okay.
invited me.
All right. So again, you sound like a stupid ass bitch. I'm trying to
Thank
figure
you.
out why you rated me a 2 because we're not going off our interactions. We're going off beauty.
I don't
Right.
like lights.
I don't give a fuck. He's light skinned just like me. And you just gave him a 9. You gave me a 2. You only gave me a 2 because of the whole interaction that we've been having, right? So do me a favor, get the fuck up and get the fuck out.
Thank you.
Yeah, get out.
Spoken like a man whose feelings weren't hurt at all and wasn't offended by the 2 rating. So he tries to justify it with, you only rated me a 2 because we had a disagreement earlier, which I guess they did, but even still, this is an extreme overreaction to getting rated a 2. The insecurity is palpable. You can fucking taste the salt here.
So what the fuck?
Stupid ass bitch. Make sure she gets her bag and phone too. Make sure she doesn't take the wrong fucking phone. Dummy. All right, cool. So now, again.
You can actually hear that lump in his throat start to form from all the emotion building up inside of him. Get out of here, stupid bitch. Hey, make sure she grabs the right phone and not someone else's phone because she's so dumb she probably won't know which one's her phone. Dumb idiot. She's real stupid. You're stupid. I'm a 2. No, you're a 2. Unsurprisingly, this turned their own community against them for the episode. A lot of the chat messages pop up on screen, so you're just seeing things popping up saying like, damn, just because she gave you a 2, what the fuck? Or something like this where it's like, thought you wanted your show to last. Like, come on, man. It's because it's ridiculous. It's very clear temper tantrum over getting a 2. If you were someone that was actually getting pussy, if you were really slamming ham and glazing donuts, you wouldn't care if one girl didn't find you attractive or rejected you. You wouldn't care. You would laugh it off like a normal person. So one girl gives you a 2 and it shatters your whole ego and you publicly melt down about it? That's such a bad and embarrassing look. And he tries to justify it, like I said, by saying, she only gave me that 2 because of our negative interaction from moments ago. Just pure huffing of copium.
We're just going off physical beauty, okay? Not what we've been talking about, not my fucking arguments, not on none of that, okay? I want you to rate me, him, and then him. Go.
Can you stand up for a second?
You didn't see me before the show?
Yeah, but I just forgot.
I mean,
Just stand. It's not that hard. Okay. You're an 8.
God damn it, bro. Go ahead, rate him.
Podcast is now turned into like a hostage situation here. All the women seem on edge, and I actually just can't believe they didn't leave after that. Like, again, I don't understand why women keep signing up for this shit. Like, no one seems to be having any fun there. The hosts especially don't seem to be having any fun. This guy's co-host seems miserable, but he does liven up it a little bit when he gets to rate the other women and gives them like 3s, 4s, and 5s and all that. But it's just so awkward and weird. The only explanation that I can come up with, the only rational way of explaining this is that the reason women are signing up for this show or shows like it is because they're being paid for their time. So it's like an hourly wage just to go there and be insulted or bouncing stupid questions off of. That's the only thing that almost makes sense. Like, so they just come on here to play a game of grade my friend's appearance for 2.5 hours or whatever. I mean, really, someone summed up the situation really nicely in the comments. They said, podcast is called Unfiltered, yet kicks a girl out for her opinion. And that is just such a nice, concise way of breaking it down and the silliness of all of it. Again, I watched a couple episodes just to try and get like an understanding of the content. There's nothing there. Everyone seems miserable most of the time, or they bounce the dumbest questions around, and they always just do a grade our appearance thing, which, who wants to listen or watch that? Like, I as a viewer, let's say that I was a huge fan of this podcast, why would I want to keep seeing what women say about my podcast hosts? Like, why would I care? There's nothing there. There's no entertainment there, especially when one of them's super insecure about all of it, who's going to freak out if he doesn't get a 9. It just doesn't make any sense to me, so yeah, just wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's it. See ya. This is an embarrassing thing to admit out loud, but I've recently found a great guilty pleasure that I've been consuming like junk food. It's those ridiculously cringe podcasts where a few dudes, pseudo-intellectuals, bring on a bunch of women and have the worst debates of all time. It's a forsaken wasteland where normal thinking goes to die. A thunderdome of delusion. It is brain-melting. It reminds me of those old PSAs for the dangers of smoking cigarettes, and they'll, like, open up someone's chest and be like, this is what your lungs look like when you smoke, and it's, like, yellow and oozing, covered in this, like, disgusting slime, and it's very fucking yucky. This is like that, but instead of showing you your lungs on cigarettes, it's your brain when watching this content, and it's fucking revolting. Like, it is actual brain rot, and I can't look away.
And goes into a marriage and has kids when they're like 18, 19, 20. And then a year into the relationship, it gets really, really abusive.
From who?
Would you... From both.
This is so rare.
Anyone
So
really.
rare.
I mean, it happens.
Go on.
My point is, I'm just, even though it might be rare from what you guys think.
It is.
I already just find this painful. She's asking a very simple question and setting it up, talking about abuse. And already the dudes here are like, this is ridiculous. This is exceptionally rare. This is damn near science fiction. Abuse? Never even heard of it. That's like winning the lottery twice level of astronomical odds. Abuse is... it is very uncommon. Very rare. As a way of trying to, like, kind of shut it down already, like, you're choosing something very fringe and outlandish. Abuse is... it's like a unicorn. It almost doesn't exist. But anyway, crazy lady, go on with your hypothetical... abuse thing, or whatever you called it. Is just trying to downplay it, which I think is just cringe.
If it would happen, what would you recommend for those people to do? Would they divorce, or do you want them to keep going in the relationship?
Keep going.
You can't divorce. I mean, that's not a real thing. You can, like, separate. See, his Catholic background shines through. He knows. You can't divorce. You can separate, but you can't actually divorce. That's not a real thing.
Even though it might be, like, physically abusive?
You got to endure. People are too...
You want to stick in the
People
relationship?
are just...
See, I mean, look,
people
I'm gonna be
nowadays
honest.
are just... Everybody quits. Everybody gives up. It's too hard. I'm this XYZ. This is why I'm special, so I can fuck up this entire situation based upon me being special.
The clown puts himself front and center here. You're looking at the chief entertainment for this episode. Fucking discount Walmart brand Sal from Impractical Jokers here. His name's Jonathan, and let me just tell you, he's got some opinions, and man, oh man, are they a stinker. So, the question is very simple. If there's an abusive relationship, an abusive marriage, should the marriage end? You know, if the woman is being abused, or even if the man is being abused. The woman who asked the question, her name is Melina, and she doesn't just make it exclusive to women getting abused. Men can also be victims of abuse. Something that Jonathan heavily disagrees with. We'll get to that later on. But he is saying that, oh, if it's an abusive relationship, you have to endure. This is the problem with snowflake society now. Everyone's such a pussy, so they'll ruin a marriage because they think they're so special. You absolute fucking troglodyte. It's not about being special, it's about not getting beat the fuck up in a marriage. There's no excuse for abusing your spouse, whether it's physical or mental. Like, it's the most... There is a right answer to this question. And the answer is yes, the marriage should end if it's abusive. 100%. Whether it's the woman or the man being abused, it should straight up end. There's no enduring. This isn't one of those situations where it's like, you know, there's greener pastures once you get through a couple of the black eyes and broken bones. You know, my husband may have beat the fuck out of me a couple nights ago, but he also took me to a really fancy steakhouse and I had an absolute bangin' filet. So, you know, all of the abuse was worth it, and I'm a little happier today. It's ridiculous. This is honestly making me concerned. My heart is breaking for whatever woman he's in a relationship with. I'm imagining this guy treating relationships like it's Fight Club. If my partner can't roll with my knuckle sandwiches without crying about it and she wants to leave for it, well then good riddance to her toots. Jesus Christ, special snowflakes can't handle a few of my right hooks. Ridiculous. That's frightening. That is a frightening mentality, that you're telling someone to just endure physical or even mental abuse in a relationship, and calling them like a special snowflake or a pussy if they don't. That's crazy. And also his cohort there, the goofball he's in cahoots with, who's like, man, divorce isn't real. Divorce is make-believe. It's hocus pocus. There's no such thing as divorce. Yes, if you're getting abused, you can't divorce, obviously. This is a wild episode.
And the reality is people just haven't learned to endure. There have been hard times in relationship. I'm sure you guys had hard times in relationship. Any relationship has hard times, and it is what it is. You need to push through, and you need to endure, because we're in this.
Abused?
Hold on, because we're in this situation now, like where everybody's just creating this like super nuanced, like 1% example of like, well, what if the kid's transgender, black, and abused, and he's a Black Lives Matter supporter? Like, cool, okay, I get like that one minute
No, but I'm asking
situation.
for anyone that might be in that situation, what would you recommend?
Okay,
endure.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what.
Endure.
I don't. That's.
I'll tell you what.
Endure.
I'll tell you what I would do.
A lot of diarrhea fell out of his mouth on this one here, so there's a lot to break down. He had an actual episode of psychosis there. He just started spitting shit that never even came up. It's a very simple question. It really wasn't nuanced. She just said, in an abusive relationship, should the marriage end? It really doesn't get more simple than that. A fucking child could understand the question. There wasn't anything about, like, all these nuance that you bring up. But anyway, Smash Mouth has his meltdown there for a second, but his message is still the same. No matter what, you gotta endure. You gotta endure the abuse. He even has the chutzpah to equate abuse to just a hard time in a relationship, as if it's just some little obstacle, little hiccup that every relationship goes through. Brother, abuse is not a hard time in a relationship. That is a fucking crime. That is when a relationship ends, should end.
I wouldn't want my daughter in that situation, quite frankly. And I understand the argument to endure, because I have people close to me who grew up in abusive households, and it lasted for periods of time, and it was a phase, and they endured through it, and they ended up raising healthy, successful families.
Their faces really tell the whole story here. This reaction's pretty on par with that statement. Abuse is not a phase. It shouldn't be a phase. This isn't a normal thing. There's no reason to start normalizing abusive relationships as something every couple needs to go through or will go through. Abuse isn't acceptable. Full stop. Like, that's where... This was a really easy slam dunk for these dudes to answer. Should a marriage end when it gets abusive, whether for the woman or the man? And the answer is easy. It's yes. A relationship isn't something where there should be an abusive phase. If there is an abusive partner, that partner needs to seek legitimate help and get help for controlling whatever violent urges or impulses they have. But that doesn't mean that the other partner needs to stay in the relationship while they're getting that help. Especially not if there's children in the household, because not only is it dangerous for the partner, it's dangerous for the kid to be around as well. I think it's very simple. I don't think it's that nuanced. Abuse just isn't acceptable. Like, that's a super easy thing for a normal person to answer, but we've cultivated this culture online where everything needs to be like a debate, even on the simplest topics. Like, you just saw Smash Mouth have that meltdown, like, oh, you're getting into all this crazy 0.1% example nuance of abuse and then all of these other factors, like, out of nowhere, when that wasn't even what was discussed. It is the easiest black and white question.
To an extent.
So you would say that to stick in those relationships that might be abusive to everyone involved and a child, if there's a child.
I'm not saying, like, hey, stick in the relationship and get the shit beat out of you by a husband.
I'm just asking you what you believe.
I'm just telling you,
even if it's a small extreme thing, I'm just asking you what you think, if you should stick in that relationship or not.
It is such an extreme example that I can't give a prescription for what other people should do. There is an element.
God damn it, it's not even an extreme example. If you just Google it for like 15 seconds, there's so many different studies conducted on the topic, and according to a lot of the different numbers, all of which are a little different, but most of them agree that at least 20% of all marriages are abusive at some point in time. And that's just in reported cases. Like, it's not an extreme example. It's really not. But even if it was, it doesn't even change the question. Like, even in the extreme example here, it's still a very easy answer that, yes, that marriage should end. There is a problem. Now, this guy here is trying to play nice with everybody, so he's like, oh, yes, even this goober over here talking about endure. I mean, there's almost an element of something salvageable of his point, when there's not. Like, there's no excuse. Like, you shouldn't be enduring abuse, like, under any circumstance, but he's really trying to give an olive branch over there for some fucking reason. But this guy is at least admitting, like, he wouldn't want his daughter in that. So he does outright say, like, yes, a woman shouldn't be getting the shit beat out of her in a marriage or relationship, and she should leave. He at least will concede that, whereas the other two guys still, for some reason, fight tooth and nail that, nah, there's really no reason to be leaving.
like that.
Do you have opinions about third trimester abortion?
It's
Yes.
terrible.
Listen,
It's
okay,
terrible.
look at how quickly you can debate it. Do you know how
Terrible.
rare third trimester abortions are? They're also really
They
rare.
are.
But you immediately had a visceral reaction to that,
Yeah.
right? There are households where parents are abusive to children. Like, that's not like an unfathomable thing. But for you to have that immediate visceral reaction to a type of abortion that's so incredibly rare. But
Yeah,
then when it's
I
like,
mean, we're
but you
talking
have-
about like a guy like getting drunk and like, you know, beating
have to be
beating his
getting drunk.
wife occasionally versus like
I actually think that was a really good point from Destiny there. Like, you have a very quick reaction to another extreme example. Why do you not have that same energy when it comes to abusive households? And then the guy starts making some shit up like, we're talking about a guy getting drunk and maybe putting his hands on his wife. Where is that coming from? The question was so simple. They're making up like a whole fanfic plotline in their head about what was asked when it was really super simple. Abusive household. Should the marriage end? Like, I actually wonder if she had even just said something even more simple and broad, what the response would have been. If she had asked, do you guys think abuse is bad? I wonder what they would have said. I wager that they would have been like, okay, we need to define what abuse is because all of these special snowflakes have weird definitions for abuse. So let's start really getting into the nitty-gritty of what is abuse. Even though it's so easy, abuse is just bad. And an abusive relationship is bad. I don't know what's so hard about it. I don't know what's so hard about them just admitting that.
Could there
But
possibly
well,
be
okay,
a
so
Yeah.
let me ask you guys. In the Catholic Church, I know that there's like annulments for marriages and stuff. Are there
That
no?
was a mistake.
Are there no exceptions for like if a guy is beating his wife constantly?
No, there are, but now
Or a woman could as well, right?
Hold on.
Well, there's
Yeah.
also
Yes,
a
she could, but-
distinction drawn between.
If a woman's beating a dude, that
legal-
guy-
Hold on, guys.
Oh man, blubbery ass Jonathan there just got saved big time by the guy in the middle. He wanted so badly to say that if a man's getting beat by his girl, then he's a pussy or he's like a weak bitch or something. He wanted so badly to try and get that kind of bravado out there. Sad to see that this mentality still exists somehow, that men can't be the victims of abuse. I thought we got rid of that stigma years ago. Jonathan's supposed to be a men's self-help guru. How? Actually, how?
Divorces that are initiated by women, Brian?
78.
80%.
78.
80%.
80%. And what percentage of those women have college degrees?
Well, it jumps to 90% if they're college educated.
Real.
Brian, please present the stats to the class. What percentage of divorces are initiated by women? 80%? Thank you, Poindexter, that's sickening. 90% if they're college educated? I rest my case. That's why I only marry 18-year-olds now. They're too young to have a college degree, thus they can't divorce me. What does this have to do with anything? Okay, so you don't want to marry college-educated women? You want to marry dumb women? Like, I don't know. What, you want to just marry a lobotomite sex doll? Cool, like, who cares? It doesn't matter. This has nothing to do with the core question anymore. It's gone fully off the rails and unhinged. They're so focused on picking apart divorce itself. So now they're spouting these stats and making each other mad. So one of the dudes is like, real. And then the other guy is taking a huge deep breath. Why, I oughta. Just hearing that number's making me mad enough to put hands on my spouse because she might have considered a divorce at some point. Like, it's ridiculous. This has nothing to do with what was asked.
They
Can
are
I ask-
extreme.
can
I
ask
agree
another-
with that,
I want to ask
but-
like one more scenario, okay?
Please.
What about if
I was giggling so fucking hard because you can hear, I'm pretty sure it's Jonathan go, oh, Jesus. When she says she wants to ask another scenario. Why are you even here? The whole point is to communicate with the women, your guests, right? To ask them stupid questions and shit. Like, if you're so bothered with them talking, what the fuck are you even doing there?
two people get married, they have a kid, and then the wife starts cheating? Do you think they should divorce?
Absolutely.
They should divorce then?
Jesus himself
You don't
said.
think
But wasn't it
Jesus,
illegal?
hold on. Jesus
And you
himself
could like
said.
work things through, right?
Jesus himself said in cases of adultery, divorce is
So you think that
permissible.
divorce is worse than physical abuse?
For the
Or
children,
cheating, sorry. You think that cheating is worse than physical abuse?
for the
Sorry.
children, yes.
I actually let out a full belly laugh. So she brings up cheating and unanimously like, yes, obviously you have to divorce when the woman's being a whore. If you've got a slut for a wife, you gotta fucking divorce that harlot, that harpy. Duh. Are you stupid, lady? Absolutely, you have to divorce there. After they spent like 6 minutes about, well, actually, divorce is one of the most evil things that can ever happen. Divorce is unacceptable. Physical abuse, okay, abuse, you have to endure because you can't divorce. But then when it's cheating, it's like, yeah, you gotta divorce. Jonathan even says crucifixion is warranted. I'm sure he's just being exaggeratory, but he does point blank say that cheating is worse than abuse for the kids, which is a wild take. Both are awful. your father beating your mother or your mother beating your father in front of your kid is just as damaging as one of them being unfaithful. These are both horrible things, both of which should end in divorce. But for some reason, they seem to only have a real visceral response when it comes to cheating. And then the guy in the middle even gets immediately religious, like, well, in the Bible it says, you know, when cheating's on the table, that's when divorce is absolutely necessary. Well, what the fuck? The Bible also doesn't preach for beating the fuck out of your spouse either. I'm sure you can also divorce in a case like that, so why didn't we get biblical when abuse was brought up? Why did we start trying to justify different levels of abuse and it might be a phase where it's going to get better after and this and that? Dude even wove a whole fanfic about, like, we're talking about a man who gets drunk and maybe occasionally hits his wife. Like, what the fuck? Like, why are you making excuses for abuse and not for cheating all of a sudden, right? Like, and Melina even calls that out. She's like, oh, well, what about, like, working through it, or, you know, maybe the cheating's a phase. And like, no, absolutely not. Cheating is the end-all, be-all. This is just crazy. Like, I was absolutely howling with laughter when we got to this segment in the podcast.
Absolutely
I think I'm not going to say this is worse. I mean, I already said that if a woman's getting abused, yeah, I think she should leave. Like, I mean, if it's a brief temporary thing, like,
what if it's mental abuse?
Okay, now
it's less cut and dry.
If
You're setting your child up.
I think there's a small chance that Jonathan may have misunderstood the question. He may have thought he heard, is divorce worse than abuse? And that's what he was saying, that divorce is worse than abuse for the kids. Which is still a fucking stupid take, so I'm going to tackle that one as well. What the fuck, man? You think that somehow kids witnessing their parents beating the shit out of each other is somehow less damaging than if they had just gotten divorced? You've got some issues you need to work through, my goodness. And then also that lady that's behind them is saying that it's less cut and dry when it comes to mental abuse. Why? Abuse is abuse. What are you talking about? So far up until this point in the episode, she hasn't said too much. She mainly just kind of agrees with everything the guys say. But she says it's less cut and dry when it comes to mental abuse, which leads me to believe that she thinks it should be cut and dry when it comes to divorce for physical abuse. But she didn't say anything. She didn't chime up and say, like, hey, I agree, the marriage should end then. She just stayed silent because I guess she was just looking for things to fight them on as opposed to agree with, which I think is always such a weird component of these debates where if you agree with your opponent, you're apparently losing, or you lose points by doing so. Which is so fucking backwards, and that's why I think debates in general are kind of worthless, because it's never about changing someone's mind. It's always about just cementing your own beliefs and never faltering and never changing perspective on anything. So nothing good ever really comes from it, except for just general entertainment as a spectator. And this one had me giggling, so I wanted to talk about it a little bit. That's it. See ya. What happens when you get three of the most uninteresting, out-of-their-prime frat dudes in a room? They make a podcast, and like all other alpha podcasts, they focus on shitting on women. But this time, the unique selling point of this alpha podcast is all three of them rolled a 0 in the charisma stat. Between the three of them, they can very rarely form a complete sentence. It's like a game of fucking Mad Libs because they can't help but keep interrupting each other, and the one time they brought on a female guest, I think she maybe got 3 words out before they kept, like, dogpiling on every single breath she took. It is an outstanding disaster of insecurity. It's also adorable how hard they all try to appear as, like, this peak sigma alpha masculine specimen. This is a podcast I'm sure none of you have heard of. I only found it because a YouTuber named Chad recently made a great video on it, and I knew I had to dive into it and watch more of their content. On TikTok, they're a bit of a laughingstock. They're just a fucking punching bag for most people to insult for good reason, obviously. So I wanted to watch more than just, like, their best moments montages where it's like, women cheat more than men, those bitches. Like, I wanted to watch, like, the actual full context and full episodes. They have 3 right now. But it was so hard to watch them because every time they try and speak, it's like a kid who gets called on in middle school to stand up and read in front of the class and they're nervous. They just drone on and on, getting lost in their own sauce, forgetting what they were even talking about. They just keep fumbling over words and they just keep placing new filler words in there and it makes no fucking sense. It's like, I have no mouth and I must scream some dumb shit, but they just can't do it. Let me show you.
Yeah, plus, like, too, when you're in that bracket of fucking really financial, I'm not, you know, but one day I will be, when I'm in that bracket of, like, being fucking rich as fuck.
Right.
I feel like, you know, especially, like, I don't know, Like a lot of dudes get played for their fucking money, and
yeah, a lot.
and they get made look like fucking fools. Because after a while too, you know, money can only get you so far with getting pussy and shit.
Well, it depends.
At the end, and it's true, and like they'll be like, oh fuck him, I'm tired of him. The fucking housewife.
That bitch was plotting.
He was plotting from the jump.
You know, it's funny because I
But
was
that's
like,
her personal need.
yeah,
which
right.
I don't
That's what I'm saying. So
Yeah,
like,
fuck that.
why are you gonna use my money that I fucking made to do something?
Yeah.
If you want money, you ask for it, and I'll gladly give it to you.
Yeah,
Because I don't want you sneaking money out
we're
the door.
financially fucking way better off than most.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, just don't like fucking. Yeah, I fucking agree.
But like,
This was from the timeless classic Women Cheat More Than Men, their biggest episode and a real hit. I couldn't watch the whole thing because this is the whole thing. Stretch this kind of conversation across an hour and 15 minutes. It's impossible to sit through. It literally sounds like someone skipping through dialogue options in like a Fallout game. It sounds like you're just listening to William Shakespeare in Old English and none of it's making sense.
I want to know what your boyfriend brings to the table, or what you expect him to bring to, or even any man. Not like we don't even have to like focus on your guy. But just any what does a guy have to do?
Respectful.
Okay.
So looks don't play a role in the first part.
There you go. Just let her go.
Yeah, let it go.
Relax, buddy.
Let it go.
This was a really big moment for the podcast. They really went out of their comfort zone and brought a girl into the boys' club in order to get deeper insight into females. Unfortunately, she wasn't able to really speak that much because the crew didn't really like when she'd talk. So like right away they just ask, you know, what do you want in a guy? And she says respectful. The fucking room goes silent and one dude's like, so looks don't matter then, huh? Like he just gets so deeply offended off rip. All three of their minds were blown. She said respectful, and one guy just, his whole soul is crushed like, what about looks, huh? What about looks? Are you lying to me, you crazy fucking harpy, huh? You come onto my podcast, you old battle axe, and you're spreading fibs? No, respectful doesn't exist. Not even a real word, not a thing. Looks, that's all that matters. That's what I've read on the forums. Don't fucking lie to me again on my own show.
I say, if my wife lets herself go after I have kids with her, if I'm gonna tell her once, if you don't get your shit together, I still want to be sexually attracted to my wife, my spouse. But if you
Even
can't
girlfriends.
do that, girlfriend too. If you can't do that, I'm out.
All three of them are pretty dumb, but this guy right here is like the superstar imbecile. Every time he says something, it's the dumbest shit. He was the guy that immediately got offended when the girl mentioned the word respectful. It was like a fucking vampire getting hit with sunlight when he heard that. He just started like melting and like in pain. All he cares about is looks and pussy, from what I gather. That's his whole personality. And anything that challenges his belief that looks are the only thing that matter in the world, he takes great offense to. So this video they disabled comments on because they were getting clowned on ruthlessly. And, you know, very un-alpha-like to be a coward and disable your comments. They're keeping the video up, and apparently they had a response to it, which they took down because they also kept getting clowned on with that. Can't confirm because I can't find it. Yeah, his whole point is super goofy. So my wife has kids with me, and then she stops getting hotter, and I don't find her hot anymore, and that's her fault. I give her one chance. If she doesn't fix herself, I'm out. Aging is cringe. So when my wife hits 40, I'm leaving her ass, and I'm going back to dating 18 and 19-year-olds.
I mentally checked out of my last relationship for so long.
But I don't want to say
you broke up.
Yeah.
But another point. Goes the fucking show. Another point.
No, but
another
it doesn't
point.
say anything. No, it's not like anything bad, but
No,
it's like
not
after
you.
everything
Hold on,
I've
let
been
you
through.
finish your point. And I'll let you finish your point. Guys at home watching, if you're fucking, once you'll know when your girl's mentally checked out, and when she's mentally checked out, she'll entertain any dude. I'm not saying you. There's always exceptions to the rule. I'm saying they'll entertain dudes. They'll fucking even cheat on you. They don't give a fuck because once when their mind's gone, the vagina still could be there. But once when the mind's gone, the heart's gone, they are done. There's no coming back from that. So like, you know.
Oh my god. He's absolutely right! Oh! He just blew the case wide open. I fucking love that this dude immediately interrupts her for the millionth time just to make like an absolute nonsense point. The vagina might still be there, but the heart's gone. The soul went to hell, and now she's cheating on you there. Right? And the Avengers music, oh, it just sounds so good. It's like he's making the most profound speech of all time. Like, hey, shut the fuck up real quick, lady. I know I asked you this question, but now I'm talking. Cue the orchestra. Hey, cheating and pussy. What's up with that? I genuinely just can't wrap my head around this whole crew here. I don't even know what he's thinking is going on right now. He thinks he's being so deep and profound and like this is somehow supposed to be inspirational, but it's not. It's not even close to anything at all.
No, I got this right here. Women preserve their value, men create it. Let me explain.
Exactly.
Guys care about a girl's past. A girl cares about a guy's future. Just like if your boyfriend.
I care about your past.
Hold up.
I have no doubt the three of them are pretty close to illiterate, but what that guy's saying right there is verbatim what all of the other YouTubers who are alpha males try and parrot. They all vomit that exact same line into each other's mouths, and just like Ouroboros, just keep eating each other's asses for all eternity. That whole men create value, women preserve it, guys care about a girl's past, girls only care about a guy's future. They treat each other like anime protagonists. It's literally r/I'm 14 and this is deep. This is literally sad Facebook statuses from 2010. It's very clear that this guy in particular was very deep into the whole pickup artist community or whatever, because this shit is the exact verbatim shit that they all said in their seminars. I've watched a lot of those on YouTube nights on stream because they're really fun to laugh at. And to a certain extent, I do feel bad for this guy because he got fed this so much that now he's adopted it as a truth and the cycle just continues.
Hot topic.
Very hot.
Girls cheat more than guys.
Oh, fuck yeah. Girls cheat more than motherfucking dudes.
I was waiting to say that, bro.
Period. They're sneaky.
It's my personal mentality because I'm better than everybody.
Yeah.
I'm not an NFL player. I haven't been to the moon. I'm still better than you.
That's how you gotta become. You gotta think you're the best before you are the best. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, everybody.
That's my personal mentality.
Yeah, he's not an NFL player. He's not a doctor. Hasn't been to the moon. Hasn't had a meaningful relationship. Hasn't been able to read an entire chapter from a Harry Potter book. But you know what? He has a podcast, so he is better than you, pussy. I feel like if I was an employee at the Best Buy they bought the Blue Yetis at, I would be overcome with guilt if I ever found this podcast and recognized them. I'd be like, fuck, I could have stopped this from happening. I could have been the hero if I just didn't sell them the Blue Yetis. It could have all been stopped before it even started.
Honestly, this has nothing to do with what we're talking about, but what's your take on fitness chicks? Valid. Like, as fuck.
They're
superior to all women.
Top of the line.
Agreed. Fitness chicks are superior to any woman.
They posted this themselves as one of their highlights. Like, this is one of their finest moments they were proud of. Just fucking imagine that mentality, that this conversation is like a moment you're like, yep, pretty proud of that one. I mean, to be fair, in their defense, they didn't fumble through sentences because there were no sentences here. It was just like individual words back and forth. Man calls it together like it's a goddamn city council meeting. Boys, gather around. Titties. What do we think? Do we like that? Valid. Milky. Top of the cream of the crop. Yes. I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that if I actually did finish all three podcasts to completion, there would be a million more wild and wacky moments, but it's just so hard to sit through their podcasts, so I haven't done that yet. So these were just some of the highlights that I found. These are the ones that were posted on their own TikTok, and as well as just a couple of moments that I skimmed through their podcast. And yeah, I just wanted to share this because this is just another very silly alpha male podcast. That's about it. See ya. Not too long ago, I posted that video called Penguinz0 Exposed, where I was damn near crying over the fact that I couldn't find an old conspiracy theory video that another YouTuber made about me, where they claimed that I was a Zionist shill using my Watto statue from Star Wars and the normalization of porn to hijack your minds, and the proof was that I always wear a white t-shirt. It was an incredible conspiracy theory video. There was just so many moving parts to it, but the video was removed from YouTube, and I was upset about it, so I was talking about it. Well, a lot's happened since then. Someone out there must have gathered all 7 Dragon Balls and made a wish to bring the video back, but the wish got even better because not only did the video get put back up, but the creator of it made a part 2. And it goes without saying that this sequel is up there with some of the greats like Jaws 2 and Paul Blart 2. And not only did the creator make a part 2, but he expressed interest in coming on our podcast, the official podcast, to defend his point and just talk about it further. And of course we said yes, because we were all interested in finding out why he went full Alex Jones and thought I was some conspiracy theory raid boss, like an Illuminati, reptilian, interdimensional, time-traveling vampire, sucking blood and cum through YouTube videos. So he came on the podcast, and you'll notice that I haven't uploaded that podcast episode. Today is Thursday, when I typically upload the official podcast, but I'm not today. And there's a reason for that. So when he did come on the show, he talked about the conspiracy that he hatched about me, the Penguinz0 conspiracy, which is arguably one of the best ones out there right now. It's up there with like fucking Area 51 shit. I'm half expecting the Penguinz0 expose conspiracy theory is going to have its own Wikipedia page with all this information and like blurry black and white photos where they take a picture of me in this white t-shirt and compare it to a picture of someone in a white t-shirt 300 years ago to prove that spirit cooking's real. Or they'll have like blurry photos of me in a forest that claim Bigfoot fucked me and transferred his genes to me, and now I'm doing some like reptilian shit or whatever. But anyway, he not only talked about that conspiracy theory about me, but he also went into some very, very sensitive conspiracy topics and some downright deplorable ones as well that YouTube just would not allow on their platform, I don't imagine. Now, I want to make it clear right away, we don't stand by those beliefs or those viewpoints that he expresses, but we did want to at least understand where he was coming from and why he believes some of the things he does. So the episode is on Spotify, and it'll only be on Spotify and other audio platforms. I won't be posting it on YouTube just because some of the topics he touched on I think are just outright awful and just really fucking gross, to be honest. But I do think it is important to at least understand why some people think these things. So we did talk and go in depth about some of them and where it comes from. So if you want to hear the episode, I'll link to Spotify in the description below. It's like the fucking SpongeBob Forbidden Lost tapes at this point here, since this is the first podcast episode I haven't uploaded on YouTube in 4 years. So yeah, I just wanted to make this to tell you why I'm not posting the podcast episode on YouTube and why there's no podcast going on YouTube tonight, and just explain that whole situation. Twitter is a conspiracy theory factory. It's like the fucking Nestle of conspiracy theories. It is constantly pumping out new ones every day. If the government tomorrow said water was good for you, there'd be a large portion of America that would be like, the government's lying to us, the water's poison, they're gonna fucking kill us with this water, and just outright stop drinking water and die a week later, and they'd still blame the government even if they died from dehydration, like this fucking shriveled up corpse. There's that level of distrust. That's how fucking bad it is. There's so many conspiracy theories all over the place, but there's different levels to them. There's the harmless fun ones to laugh at, like Flat Earth, and then there's the downright dangerous detrimental ones such as anti-vaxxing and things in that nature. So there's definitely levels, and I think with this episode and just given what he touched on, they weren't that goofy, fun conspiracy theory level. So yeah, again, I just wanted to explain that whole situation. Also, something new we're doing for the podcast is having the listeners and their music play us into the podcast. This week we had a really good band called Atrial. So since the episode didn't get posted on YouTube, it just didn't feel right not having it. So I'm gonna play a snippet from their music leading into the podcast because it's a really fun idea, and there's a lot of really fucking talented listeners that have some great fucking bangers, like some songs that absolutely slap. So we just thought it was a fun thing to do. So here's the first one. I feel like I'm at a football game right before it starts.
Yeah, the home team's being announced right now.
Yeah, as the team comes out of the tunnel.
The starting lineup for the official podcast.
Hawk Tua Girl. I imagine a lot of you just rolled your eyes at that. It is a meme that, for a lot of people, is beyond stale. It's been run into the ground because over the last couple months, it's been everywhere. Hawk Tua Girl has, like, her name has been said more than Bloody Mary's name. It's like Beetlejuice, but when you say Hawk Tua 3 times, you'll get a new flood of 10 different videos from her in your feed. It is just everywhere and has been for a couple months. And it's made a lot of people just pretty exhausted with it. They're tired of it. And I made a video talking about her when the meme first blew up, going over how interesting I find it that a meme can change someone's life pretty much overnight. Something as simple as talking about spitting a loogie on a wiener can lead to a whole career potentially. And I never really blamed her for trying. I also did find it really weird how quickly she was speedrunning the influencer route. Within like 3 days, she had like a whole PR team. She surrounded herself with like a bunch of parasites that were suckling all the clout out of her like these fucking vile leeches. Like, she was immediately talking about starting podcasts, starting her own, like, I think it was like a TV series or something. So she was going to launch the Hawk Tuah cinematic universe to compete with the MCU from the sound of it. She was going on podcasts. She was getting paid like $30,000 to appear at clubs. It was insanity. And now the trailer dropped for that podcast, which comes out in a couple days, and people have been clowning on her for it. She is getting dunked on harder than I do when I play pickup basketball.
She's literally doing anything to stay relevant.
Does anyone actually give a fuck about her?
Why are we keeping this girl relevant?
Your 15 minutes are up.
Your joke was funny for 2 days. Stop.
Y'all really thought I was done? I'm just getting started, baby.
It just feels so corporate and soulless. It just feels really inauthentic and artificial. That was what a lot of people said early on to the Hawk Tuah timeline, that she was some kind of plant, because she did have like an entire government think tank assigned to her right away to try and like keep her name out there and keep people saying Hawk Tuah, spit on that thang as much as possible. So it felt really forced. And zoinks, Scoob, this trailer feels more forced than this smile. It's called Talk Tuah. It's not an awful name, like it's kind of silly, but it also just continues to reinforce the meme itself, which makes people even more annoyed with it if they're already tired of it, you know what I mean? Like, this just really feels like how Vought would handle a meme in the boys universe.
It smells warm. F you.
Yeah!
What's one move in bed that makes a girl go crazy? I'm Haley Welch. A little while ago, my life took a complete left turn and it changed forever. And along the way, I've realized that everybody's entitled to their own opinion. Well, now it's my time to talk. Check out my podcast every week, Talk to Them, where I'm sitting down with the coolest guests and having actual conversations with them. And Pookie.
Who is Pookie? Who is Pookie?
He may stop by too. New exercise every week! Subscribe to that thing!
I love that selling point of having actual conversations with the guests. Look, I'm not a chef in the kitchen, but I can speculate on the menu. They're going to be serving up nothing burgers with those conversations. Just a hunch. I get the impression that this is all driven by a firm. So what I'm imagining is all the guests are going to have like pre-approved questions that are okayed by the department that's going to be like really sterile, really safe, and hyper vigilant of being like viral potential clips. So like her smelling a shoe or flipping that question about what's a move in bed that makes a girl go crazy. Like, that all feels really, really fake. Yet, one of the big selling points is it's actual conversations. We'll see, it drops in like 2 days. I could be totally wrong. But even still, it's not like every other podcast isn't having real conversations. Like, this isn't going to be the only real one, you know what I mean? It just ticks every single box that some kind of marketing firm would have you do for your sizzler reel and marketing material. Pookie might stop by. Hooey! It could be anyone. Who the fuck is Pookie? You'll have to stop in next week for this Talk to a season finale to find out. It could be goddamn Steve Jobs being brought back from the dead. Maybe he never actually died. Maybe Hawk Tuah's spit acts as some kind of necromancy, and she's the damn saliva sorceress, and she revived him. Who knows? You know, it's just, it all just feels so forced. But I do still stand by my statement that I can't even really be mad at her for doing all of this. I really can't. Getting as lucky as she did with a meme blowing up and people like going and flocking to you, like that doesn't happen often. And that can be the dream job for most people on the planet, and she's trying to capitalize off it. I don't think this is the best way of doing it. I really think being more human as opposed to just being the meme itself and spreading that out. I gave this example before, but maybe many of you don't remember the tragedy of Your Breathtaking Guy. It's not a story the Jedi would tell you, but I've mentioned it before. Quite a few years back, Keanu Reeves was at an event and he was talking about how the game looked breathtaking, and someone in the crowd shouted, "You're breathtaking," at Keanu Reeves, to which he said it back to that gentleman. And that guy came forward, everyone cheered him on, he became an overnight sensation, and for I think it was like almost a full year, he rode that puppy as much as he could. He was milking those titties dry. He tried to use You're Breathtaking as his branding. He called himself the breathtaking guy, if I remember correctly. And people got really tired of it really quickly. And that same thing seems to be happening to the Hawk Girl to a lesser degree, though, because she does still have a lot of people that are really excited about this. So it is working to a certain extent, but I just really think the best path is to just separate from the meme a little bit. Like, hey, you know, this was my lightning rod. I know you guys know me as the Hawk Girl, but, you know, I'm just kind of hanging out here. I started a podcast if you want to check it out, and just have it be more organic. Hey, I'm playing the One Piece card game tonight on stream if you guys want to stop in and tune in, as opposed to just like wrapping everything around the meme, because it just feels so inorganic. It really does feel like an industry plant situation to a certain extent. But yeah, anyway, just want to talk about it a little bit because I do find it very interesting. That's it. See ya. Thursday is always a magical day of the week. It's the time of week where everyone's always looking forward to it. Everyone's counting down till Thursday around 8 p.m. Eastern because every Thursday, I upload the newest episode of the official podcast. However, this week, I wanted to change things up a little bit. So instead of just dropping the newest full episode here today, I wanted to tease your balls a little bit and just show you one of my favorite moments from the podcast over the last couple weeks. So if you're unfamiliar with the official podcast, we have conversations like this constantly, and if you're interested in hearing more like this, definitely check out the official podcast. I'll link to Spotify down below where the newest episode will be posted right now. So yeah, definitely click the link in the description if you want to hear more like this. This is from episode 200.
That's just the male condition. Like, we have this podcast and we talk about our jacking off habits most of the time. That's just, that's just what you do.
I wouldn't fiddle with your guys' assholes.
Yeah, but you'll talk about your asshole to us, won't you?
Yeah, that's different.
Yeah, so you'd put a pineapple in your ass and walk around for my amusement, but you wouldn't put a pineapple in my ass. What?
Is that a negative?
That was philosophical. What a conundrum.
Have you asked? Like, nicely? That's a fair point.
Yeah, if I did it, it wouldn't be hazing.
What if it was for, like,
just be
if you had to save my life doing it, Jackson, would you?
What, finger your asshole?
Yeah, just do anything to my ass. Like, it's life-saving medical, like CPR, but to my ass.
How would that be life-saving?
I don't know. Just
like I have to finger your asshole to see if you got ass cancer or something.
Jackson's under a lot of pressure. Jackson, would you finger it if it just felt really, really good?
No.
Fuck.
Yes, maybe.
Maybe one day. Jackson, you can't.
Depends how good it. Well,
Jackson, we meet up.
I'd be taking Kaya's word at that point.
No,
You'd just be saying, "Hey, Kaya, hey Jackson, my asshole feels really good." Finger it.
No, okay, Jackson, we meet up.
I don't know if I want to take his word.
We meet up again in America. Okay, you come home for some reason. You were alone out. You find Charlie, me, and Andrew on the floor, unconscious, asses bare. You find Tiana also. She's like bloodied, barely holding on to her life. She says, "You have to lick one of their asses. It's the only way." And maybe there's like demonic symbols on the floor. Maybe it's like some sort of a summoning gone wrong. Would you?
Wait, where are you? Where are you?
On the floor.
At that point?
I told you, the three of us are unconscious on the floor needing help.
Yeah.
Would you lick one of our asses to save our lives?
Yeah. Oh, only one of you?
Yeah, licking one ass saves the life of all three in this chain ritual.
The antidote is in all of our it's in all of our asses, but you only need enough antidote from one ass.
That doesn't make sense.
It will banish the
That
Babadook.
doesn't make sense.
No, yeah, just go with it. Would you or not?
It would make more sense if the antidote was on my tongue and the only way to deliver it was
fine.
Why
do you want to lick all of our asses?
Jesus.
That's what you get on. No. Well, fine. Yes, I would obviously save 3 lives. I would take the bullet and lick someone's
ass though, Jackson?
Who's?
No, I'm
There's
not
a
gonna
correct
answer
answer.
that.
Who's got the cleanest dumper?
Yeah, actually, who does have the cleanest?
Let me tell you something. Kaya is just a
that's
fucking minefield. Don't go in there.
No,
Are you insane?
It's absolutely Kaya.
I fucking sterilize my
power
ass.
washes that shit.
Yeah, but it's all. But think about what's going out of the ass, though, Jackson. You have to think of volume, like pure.
Yeah, but
also,
I don't.
I'm not talking. I'm not talking after the shit
think I
and
would enjoy
before
it the most too.
cleaning. I'm talking my ass is in its default state of being clean.
Yeah, but I think it's also different if the arsehole I'm licking is clearly enjoying it. I think that turns it into something else. Like Kai would definitely be enjoying it. So
like I'm gonna come to like,
I don't
keep
know.
going.
Yeah, I'm gonna go in there for the lick and I'm gonna get cum all over my face. It's just gonna shoot me.
But even still,
that's an additional thing.
Again, going back to Kai's asshole, his is probably significantly hairier than Andrew's and I. So it'd be like playing this on expert difficulty. You'd have to fight to the objective.
True. Even if you knew that it was sterile, it is still hairy. Like it's gonna it's gonna feel like licking a pineapple or a carpet. Who do you go with?
Fuck. Andrew, what's your asshole like?
It's pretty mild, I'd say. It's got a bold country flavor. I don't know.
Barbecue.
I'd say for a man of my stature and a man of I don't know, my complexion, my asshole's pretty much what you would expect. There's no surprises down there.
Well, that's disgusting. I was hoping for a surprise, like a really nice asshole. But
you have to pick one.
All right. So is it better to lick hair instead of an anus then? Because maybe licking a hairy anus would be better.
No, why would that be better? That's
that'd be way worse.
Because you're not actually touching.
Well, okay,
the
well,
asshole.
going back to your original. Yeah, going back to your original lore, though, if the antidote's on your tongue, you would want as much antidote going to the actual asshole instead of the hair.
Oh, but that means I'd actually need to plunge my tongue in.
Like,
it's not just a...
No. Let's say all three of us got bitten by a snake in our assholes and you have to suck the poison out.
Oh, no, you're making this way worse. No.
Do you do it?
So all three of us got bitten in the asshole by a snake, and we were human caterpillaring, so you only have to suck the bottom asshole out.
Human centipede, so I have to penetrate.
We all got bit in the asshole. We knew the only way to survive was forming a human centipede. And then Jackson happened to walk in and went, "My God, they're all poisoned."
Yeah, that's the first thing you do.
What I do best.
Are you just gonna let us die?
What? How does licking one of your anuses save the rest? That's
It
what
was
I
a
wanna
curse,
do before I
Jackson.
can-
Going back to Kaya's original theme of a curse makes the most
you're
sense.
mixing up words, though. Okay.
It's a snake curse. Whatever. How would you?
You all have hairy anuses, right?
Yeah, Jackson, there's a right answer. Like, I don't know why. Like, so just going by even appearances, it should be pretty obvious. So,
Hey, how did we get here from a rat talk?
Oh, I totally forgot.
Oh, you're still here?
So hang on, hydraulic. I'm gonna have to mute you. Stay out of this. I need an answer.
We moved on.
You created a monster.
Thanks for joining us.
I don't want a distraction here. Jackson, answer please. Sorry,
Wait, but
I
hold
think
on,
Charlie
Jackson.
was talking.
Yeah. So I was going to give you a hint. So looking at Kaya, he has a very dark and hairy anus. Like, look at his hair. Look at me.
clean,
I also have very, but clean, but there's a lot of obstacles, a lot of debris. And then me,
obstacle
dark
course.
hair, hairy anus. But look at Andrew. Andrew has light complexion, light hair. His anus probably has significantly less hair and not as thick, just judging by the rest of his body.
It could be shitty
I would
still.
take that bet. Yeah. Without. Well, no, I have a clean anus. I wipe myself very properly. Thank you.
He does have a bidet.
I have a bidet. I do. Yes.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
So you know, actually, yeah. If I had to just blindly pick, I'd probably say I have the most appealing anus.
Yeah, I would also say that.
I would
still
definitely
say
say it's between Kaya. It's between Kaya and Andrew. Charlie, you're completely out because you don't shower for like 3 days apparently. So your anus is out of it. Just I bet it's a wreck down there, honestly. So honestly, yeah, I think I'll go Andrew.
Yes.
Hey,
Yeah, I think Andrew would be the right call.
Jackson, if it makes you feel any better, if I were in the same scenario, I would pick you without even hesitating.
What the fuck?
I know
This is
for a
sweet.
fucking fact Jackson has the prettiest anus of all of us.
I can already just assume he has almost no hair down there.
None at all. It's like a
probably
fucking
peach
smooth-
fuzz.
Smooth, silky skin.
I can nip that in the butt. I probably have, if not the hairiest, probably the second hairiest.
No, I
right
lean
next
in to
Kaya.
take a
No,
taste and I smell like lavender somehow. It's going to be great.
There's a
Andrew's
mint in
gonna lean
there.
in, peel off your little MeUndies like a wet Band-Aid, all sweaty and nice. It's gonna get a whiff of it. Gonna prepare.
See, this is what I
Salad
mean by
waits a
Kaya
little.
enjoying this too much.
Whet his appetite. Kiss you
Clearly
maybe in
enjoys
the
it too
small of your
much.
back. Kiss your dimples, and then slowly move his way
This is sexual
down.
harassment.
Before breaking the curse.
Kaya's going to have his dick buried deep in Jackson's ass and go, wait, I'm supposed to be licking this. I forgot.
We're not meant to be creating our own fan fiction.
Isn't that what this episode is?
It's supposed to be a scientific discussion of how you'd break a snake ass bite curse.
Yeah.
Well, I guess I just wanted to see if
ended
you
up
do
with
it
me
at
and
all.
Andrew 69ing.
Which is nice.
Oh yeah, what?
I appreciate that.
No, it's not a question. I would definitely do it. Like
Thank you.
I would have
Thank
to
you.
if
Yeah.
there were 3 lives on the line.
Yeah. I still want to imagine the scenario where all 3 of us get bitten on our assholes by a poisonous snake.
Yeah, you'd think we'd learn after the first one.
On the asshole too.
Yeah.
For this to happen, we all would have had to be naked at the same time in the same room.
And trying to like smother the snake with our cheeks.
One at a time. Fucking Charlie gets bit, Andrew goes into smother.
It's like
trying to
those
cannonball on it.
fucking Dragon Ball episodes where all of Goku's friends try to beat the one bad guy and they all die and he has to save the day. Well, thank you, Jackson.
Hentai is a word and a hobby that was once taboo, only talked about in hushed whispers behind the arcade, is now commonplace and mainstream, to the point where people talk about AirPods and hentai in the same sentence. It's reached this level where it's just normal and accepted, and that's beautiful. That's absolutely fantastic. And to celebrate this fact, my good friend Jackson from the official podcast is making a hentai game, and what better way to announce his hentai game than during E3, the biggest moment for games, the biggest fucking stage possible for games. This is like him going on national television and announcing his game, and it was a huge conference. Jackson pulled out all the stops in front of a sold-out crowd in the Staples Center. He unveiled his game. Now, it's a tradition with my boys and I, Andrew, Kaya, Jackson, and I, we watch the E3s together and stream it on Twitch. This year, Kaya didn't join us, but we still streamed it, the 3 of us, on twitch.tv/moistcritical. And then Jackson blew us all away with his conference, making all of the other video game enthusiasts now, not even professionals. They're no longer professionals because Jackson has just redefined what that word means. He blew them all out of the water, so check this shit out. It's also worth mentioning that I'll be writing a few of the quests for the game as well. Genghis-Swan's dusting off the old pen to write some extremely hot hentai. Actually, I'm really only here for Jackson's conference, honestly.
Yeah.
Like, honestly,
for something actually worth watching.
Bethesda's just that opening act at the concert to get the crowd kind of, like, awake. And then Jackson's gonna come in and, like, steal the fucking show.
All right, that's it.
Ladies and gentlemen, are you all ready?
The real conference begins now.
Play the trailer, goddammit. Let them see what we've been working on in our little laboratory.
Count it down.
World premiere. Is this Skate 4? Oh man, it's looking good.
Oh, this is so cool. Oh, they made Bit Defense. I love that.
Dude, what the fuck? Is this From Software and George Martin?
No fucking way.
No!
Whoa, masturbating? I do that.
Relatable.
Whoa.
Godswood, I came up with that name. Who stole this from me?
Oh my god. Wow, look at the graphics.
Jesus.
That rain looks almost real.
Oh my god, is this some of Picasso's older work?
This is incredible. Game of Modes, that's like that TV show. No fucking way.
This isn't coming out till like 2020. The quality.
There's no way.
What? This month? No!
The 20?
I welcome all feedback. If you want to keep up to date with it, you can head to teamgodswood.com.
What kind of game is it, Jackson?
Sign up for a newsletter. You can jerk off to it. It's a hentai parody adult visual novel. Really, it was just made because we were fucking around in private, and Charlie said you should make a visual novel, and so I decided, that's a pretty good idea, just to see if it can be done. And here we go. But it's going to be released for free on the 21st of, when is it, the 6th, 2019. I just said, teamgodswood.com.
How about you name drop E3 exclusive 3 of the dateable characters that you will find in this game?
Not dateable, fuckable.
Fuckable. Keyword
Yeah,
fuckable. Live action,
penetration.
immersive fucking experience. Why don't you go ahead and name drop them? Go ahead.
So, eventually, not at release, but eventually we're going to have Andrew of Official Podcast fame, Kaya of Official Podcast fame, and Charlie of Moist Critical Twitch channel fame. We'll have all 3 of those characters dateable, fuckable, and romanceable.
Just like in Game of Thrones.
That's exactly what I want with my image. Thank you.
Jackson,
I'm honored.
Don't you have like some lewd photos that you've sent me somewhere on the internet that they can go check out? I've seen so many dicks and pussies in art form from you. There has to be surely there's a place they can go check it out if they want to.
They can't at the moment, I'm sorry to say. But you can get the game soon, and then you'll be able to see all the dicks and pussies that you want to see.
What a beautiful... That's the best conference of E3, hands down.
I've seen so
I'd
far.
also like to point out as a little piece of trivia, the Game of Moan's title screen that you see right here used to have just bare pussy on it. But it was a little on the nose for E3.
I asked Charlie if that would be okay, if he'd be alright streaming that.
Yeah, needless to say, I didn't think it was artistically sound enough for Twitch. All right, boys.
People are asking how much the game will cost. I can confirm. Did I not already say this? I can confirm that the game will be free.
What? Free? In 2019?
Oh my god!
I can't. Jackson, you've lost your mind. You should have microtransactions, like you roll loot boxes for pubic hair on certain characters as like epic skins.
For new outfits and shit. Yeah.
Lingerie, cosmetics.
Yeah.